Welcome back to another episode of Going For It. It looks like we're only going to be a duo for now. Maybe Craig pops in, hangs out, shows up. We don't know. We're
We
not
don't
sure.
know.
But we'll
We'll
do it live.
we'll take
Fuck
his
yeah.
clips from last year and splice
Smart.
them in for this year.
Smart. I think that's what we should do. That's what we're going to do. We are going to start this week with our pick breakdown. We're going to talk a little bit about the games from last week, talk about what's coming up this week. Mike and I are going to bury what's left of the tail that we have between our legs. A lot of it is missing from last week. But I want to start with our Thursday night game, which we will break down more in depth in our Thursday night breakdown. Minnesota versus Philly. Who do you have here?
Boy, I know we're going to get into this in more detail later, but I'm going to go Philadelphia at home. I don't know how you could pick Minnesota on the road here.
Yeah, Minnesota opened up against what should have been a weaker opponent and was bad. I don't want to talk too much about this game because we will have a full breakdown. But Philly at home, I don't know if they're wearing the Kelly Greens for this one, but like you don't want to play Philly at home. You don't want to play Philly at home. So the Philly all day this feels like a slam dunk to me, especially I feel like they have some doubters after last week. New England wasn't the strongest game for them. And I think they're going to want to come in and just dunk all over Minnesota. And I don't, their defense gives me no reason to believe that they can't be dunked on.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me Philly too. Green Bay versus Atlanta. This is in Atlanta, I believe.
Jordan Love did some things last week.
He did with no receivers. He has no one.
Yeah, and he did a lot of things.
He did.
And Atlanta didn't do much of anything.
That game was awful. Anytime it came onto Red Zone, I was annoyed. I was like, why do I stop it? I don't care. Yeah, Atlanta was tough, especially against, they played Carolina, right? And that game was like doo-doo sauce.
Yeah. I'm taking Green Bay on the road all day long.
Yeah, it's going to be Green Bay for me too. Still not sold on Jordan Love. Chicago's defense is not the defense of old, but the dude showed he understands the offense. He can make throws. I think once Christian Watson gets healthy and gets there, I think that could be a whole nother thing. But they are a better team defensively and offensively than Atlanta, and it should not be close in my opinion. But Vegas versus Buffalo. And this is going to be the last one. I'm going to go to you first, and I'm going to take some, and we'll go back to you. This one is a tough draw for me, so I'm going to let you go first. Vegas versus Buff.
I don't know how much to read into week one because all of the teams that I thought were going to be good
100%
were just, at best, they were blah.
They were fine.
They were fine. Yeah, that's basically like the best thing you can say about the teams like Buffalo and Kansas City and all that stuff. They were fine. And maybe that's just a sign of, I think it definitively answers the question we had a couple weeks ago. Does preseason matter? Yes, it fucking matters. It really matters. All they've done is turn week one of the regular season into week 4 of the preseason. And it shows. So
I felt that exact same way all weekend. I was like, especially as my team was getting shit kicked, I was like, remember that one series you guys did in game 2? Yeah. Maybe we should have played a little more, guys.
Maybe just a touch more. But I have to believe Buffalo's better than what we saw against the Jets. And the Jets defense is really, really good. But man, Josh Allen made some boneheaded plays against the Jets. And you're just sitting there going, what are you doing? And everybody on the broadcast is saying the same thing. Everyone in the chat groups are saying the same thing. Why are you taking those hits? Why are you making those plays? It was boneheaded play because he's trying to do too much. And I saw Ben Roethlisberger do that for years, but Ben Roethlisberger somehow looked better doing it than Josh Allen does.
It's true. Ben, I feel like, has and this isn't a slight to Josh Allen because I think Ben's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's gonna go. He probably belongs on the Steeler Mount Rushmore, at least on the offensive side.
Oh yeah.
If you were combining offense and defense, I don't know that he makes it, but like he's close. He's arguable. But the thing for me with Josh Allen that really put me over the edge before the 3 interceptions, before you talk about all of the contact, at the end of last season, he looked at everyone's face in the camera and was like, I'm going to take less hits. I need to be more available for my team. And, you know, I can't be hurt. And with that, I need to be better in the pocket. I need to make these throws. When you ran and you got helicopter hit, I was like, what is this guy doing? Do you not understand that, like, this team is nothing without you? And then you throw 3 picks to the same safety. The same dude has not had 3 picks in a season ever.
He triggered his escalator bonus.
A game.
He triggered his bonus in one game.
You just put $250K in that guy's pocket. Or is it 25,000? I don't remember. He got a substantial sum of money.
Yes, he did.
The only reason I go Buffalo here, because I am, if that version of Josh Allen continues this season, I'm going to start jumping on the Josh Allen is overhyped bandwagon. I know there's people that do it for Joe Burrow already, and we'll get there because that was a whole travesty in it on itself. But that was some of the worst quarterbacking play I've seen, and that guy needs to be better. He needs to be better. He needs to be smarter. He needs to make better reads. And the Jets defense is great, obviously, but you just expect more out of a franchise guy that's, you know, getting paid a lot of money. I'm going to also go Buffalo. The only reason I don't go Vegas is because Jimmy G's questionable, didn't practice today. Devontae Adams did not practice today. And Jacoby Myers also did not practice today. So you take those 3 guys away from Vegas. What are they? Terrible. So I'm going to go Buffalo, but it's much closer than I thought I would feel.
See, I'm the opposite, but it's all because of who Vegas is. Buffalo's 9.5-point favorites, and I would still take the over at home against Vegas on a Sunday early game. I'm going to take Buffalo. I'm going to take the over if we were betting that. And I just think it was the rust. I really do. I don't think Josh Allen's overrated. If he continues to make mistakes like that, sure. But there were so many bad plays from quarterbacks because they just didn't get the reps in the preseason.
Yeah, this weekend really showed that, you know, we asked that question, like you said, a couple weeks ago when we were recording, was, you know, does preseason matter? And like, it is a resounding yes. It is a resounding yes. Preseason does matter, especially to quarterbacks. And if from the Giants' perspective, the offensive line, believe it or not, they need to do things. But we'll get there.
They need to cut block
Baltimore.
More.
Yeah. Baltimore versus Cincy. Joe Burrow threw for like 82 yards total.
Come on, give him credit. Benched. I think it was 86.
Oh, sorry, 86 yards. Maybe it was 87. I don't know. He threw for less than 100 yards. T. Higgins, who people drafted very highly in fantasy, finished with 0 points, which is an insane statement to say. This had to be rust. You cannot attest this to anything other than rust. In my opinion, this dude didn't get a training camp. He got hurt on like the first day of padless practice. Like, and initially everyone was like, oh no, is this the Achilles? And like, thankfully it wasn't, because we want our quarterbacks to be healthy, but also like this dude didn't get to do anything until literally last week before the game. So it has to be rust. I have faith in the Bengals. Still scared about their offensive line. I drafted Joe Mixon, and I feel a little weird about that right now. But Baltimore versus Cincy, division game, I'm still going Cincy. I think they bounce back with big numbers. I think they're going to get T. Higgins involved early. Jamar Chase is unguardable. And I hope for 2 tutties for Joe Mixon, just for myself. I want to be selfish.
I also hope for those things because I also have Joe Mixon on several teams, and I did give Burrow way too much credit. It was 82 passing yards in week 1 there. I don't know. It has to be
5 yards between friends,
right? It has to be the combination of he did not get a chance to play at all or practice at all during the preseason. So this is pure rust. And I'm not convinced he's totally healthy, considering when that injury first happened, there was talk that he was going to miss some time in the beginning of the season. And it felt like they were like,
putting him on pup.
We just gave you $250 million. You go out and play on half a leg. And
how dumb is it that you just said those words? How dumb is it that this man is making $250 million in 6 years, 5 years?
Or is it? I didn't actually look because it was a 5-year extension, but you put him under contract for 7 years,
I can't
right?
Remember if it? Yeah. I think he's got 2 years left on his. Still, that's an obscene amount of money.
It's an obscene amount of money. Every quarterback who signs a contract is going to be the next highest paid player in the NFL, so it's hard to really care too much about that little part because the next quarterback that signs the deal is going to be the next highest. But they definitely rushed him back out there because the Bengals aren't a great organization, just like the Browns aren't a good organization. They make bad choices from the top down. So they'll be fine. I did pick Cincinnati to win. I'm not convinced Baltimore's all that good, but I'm clearly not good at football because I only got 6 games right last week. So Baltimore fans who already don't care about me because I'm a Steelers fan, they actively hate me. They should feel pretty good that I picked Cincinnati here.
Yeah, Baltimore didn't look good. My boss is a Baltimore fan. We were talking. He checked in on me Monday morning. He was like, "Hey, just wanted to check in on you." And I was like, "I'm only crying every other hour now."
That's like, a boss that cares.
Yeah. And he's a Baltimore fan. And I was like, "Hey," I drafted Zay Flowers in your honor. And he looked good. And he was like, "Yeah, it was him and nobody else." And I was like, "Yeah." And I feel terrible for J.K. Dobbins. I feel
that
awful
dude
for that dude.
Oh,
he's got the worst luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baltimore doesn't look like they have it together. It's going to take a lot for them to make me believe that Lamar can be a pocket passing quarterback because I don't think it's, I don't care who the weapons are. I don't care who's around him. I just don't think that he's a guy that can do that 35 times a game. And that's what they're trying to do. And I just don't think he's that. But what the fuck do I know? I'm a Giants fan, and I thought that we were going to beat Dallas, and Dallas could have banked points for this week and still beat the shit out of us. So,
all right. Well, hold on a second. What's more ridiculous? You thinking the Giants could beat Dallas, or me thinking the Steelers could beat the 49ers?
You know what? I'm going to say me thinking the Giants could beat Dallas because I drew the parallel last week that Brock Purdy didn't really get a training camp. He did a lot of rehab, but this dude apparently was genetically engineered to run the Kyle Shanahan offense. So it didn't fucking matter. So I'm going to say that it's still me. I'm going to say that I'm the dummy because that was bad. It was real bad.
Yeah. It was all bad all over the place on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll get into it. It's fine. I'm not crying anymore. Seattle versus Detroit. I'm taking the Lions. The Lions, I believed in them to start. I didn't think they were going to win. Obviously, we have that on the internet now forever. It is there. I didn't think they were going to win, but they proved us wrong. It was a fun game. And I don't know that you can study. It's in Detroit too. They sold all of their season tickets for the first time in team history or some shit. I just think they're going to blow up. I really think they're going to blow up. And also Geno Smith, shout out to you for having the most relatable moment in the NFL this weekend.
Oh God.
When Aaron Donald runs up through an unblocked through the middle of your offensive line, you go, "Oh my God." Yeah, that That is the realest thing I've looked at and been like, I would do that. I would do exactly that. Like there's not much that happens in a football game where I'm like, I could do that. Standing there and going, "Oh my god," and throwing the ball away in fear, I could absolutely do that, and I would.
Yeah.
I would. Holy shit, that was awesome.
Yeah, one of the best parts of week 1 for sure.
Easily. So who are you taking? Seattle versus Detroit.
Detroit. I'm a big time Detroit believer this season. I love the coaching staff there. I think they have the right players there. They've got the Sun God on their squad, so I'm taking Detroit at home.
He's so good. Chargers, Tennessee. I'm going Chargers. I actually think I cursed the Giants. Justin Herbert, I think, is my personal favorite quarterback in the league right now. I always wanted him to be a Giant, and when we didn't take him because we took Daniel Jones the year before, I was very angry, and it still sets some emotions off. But I ordered a Chargers hat to wear on the podcast, like I have my Giants hat, and I did that before Sunday Night Football, and I think that part of it was my fault. But
yeah, no, it sure was.
It definitely was. I forgot how to block defensive linemen, so it was on me. I'm still going to take the Chargers. They went shot for shot with Miami. They need Jesus on defense, but their offense definitely showed that they can control the clock. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. They can pretty much do whatever they want. But yeah, the defense needs Jesus in a serious way.
I think Tennessee might be sneaky bad this year. Like they're going to win some games and still be considered, one of the mid to upper mid, maybe a playoff contender. But I think they're going to be sneaky bad. They're going to win games that they probably shouldn't and lose games that they shouldn't. And this is a game 100% that the Chargers are just going to dominate them.
Ryan Tannehill's done, right? Like he should not even be on the field anymore.
I don't want to say that. Give him his swan song.
He looked so bad. That was the other game. Was it Tennessee, New Orleans?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Well, I don't think they've got much better there. So if he continues to play like he's playing, we will find out for sure if they have better there because it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I get. Well, no, they're not the ones that for a second I was like, wait, didn't they trade the other? No, it was D'Amico Ryans from there. I think he was the defensive coordinator there, went to Houston, and they traded for the next. They're going to get first and second round picks this year because Houston was bad. But yeah, they need to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, just like most of the terrible teams. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill looks real bad. So yeah, Chargers all day. I think they're just going to stack the box and be like, throw the ball, Ryan. And he's going to be like, to who? And just like, whatever happens, happens. Chicago versus Tampa.
Ooh.
I'm going to go to you first on this one. What are you thinking?
I think that Tampa was a myth, that I do not believe that they actually beat Minnesota last week. I don't expect it to continue. I don't think Chicago was as bad as they put on film last week. So I am going to take Chicago on the road as everybody goes, right, it's Baker Mayfield. Got it.
I hate that I agree with you, but I'm absolutely agreeing with you. I think Justin Fields is better than he showed last week. DJ Moore, very few touches in that game. I know because he's on my fantasy team. But I expect them to get him involved early and often in Tampa. They just don't have the corners to keep up with him. And I really do just think that Chicago's gonna stomp Tampa Bay out because I've been saying it on this podcast. I think Kirk Cousins is on the way down. And if last week was any sign, he also could have been rusty. But if last week was any sign, that offensive line is a sieve. And he does not have the escapability that anybody has. So it's going to be a long season for Minnesota, possibly. Give me Chicago on the road. This game is interesting.
Yep.
Kansas City, Jacksonville.
I hovered over selecting Jacksonville.
There's a hover.
For 10 seconds before going, what are you doing? And selecting Kansas City. But there was a hover.
So we haven't heard anything about Travis Kelce's availability yet. We are recording this Wednesday night for anyone's clarity. So like we have the most information we can possibly have, but things change Friday, and like I'm just not gonna record and turn around a podcast that quickly. So bear with us. But I also picked Kansas City. I don't think Jacksonville, and this is going to be a really weird thing for me to say, but I don't think Jacksonville is as good as Detroit, especially defensively. I don't think Jacksonville has the horses that Detroit has. And I think Patty's going to play angry. And I think that that's the scariest thing if you are Jacksonville, that Patrick Mahomes is about to play a game against you feeling like he has something to prove. So if in the last week his receivers have learned how to catch, they're going to be a threat. If they haven't, Travis Kelce is going to get 12 catches if he plays.
If he plays.
If he plays. So I'm going to go Kansas City as well. No Travis Kelce. I still take Kansas City. I just think that they're gonna play angry, and I think their offense is gonna hang like a 40 burger or something. Like I think Patty's just gonna take over. Full Grim Reaper.
There was so much bad football from what I thought would be good teams last week that I am 100% chalking it up to a lack of preseason, and I'm just mentally not counting much of what happened in week one. So
super fair.
I'm coming back. If this was week one, I would take Kansas City, no hesitation, over Jacksonville, even though I know Jacksonville's improved this year. So I fully expect Kansas City to win. I would not be shocked if Jacksonville wins, but that would be enough to make me change my opinion on Kansas City moving forward.
Yeah, I'd be worried about Kansas City without. I would assume that they. So my caveat is, I think they win this game if Travis Kelce plays. If Kelce plays and he's at 85%, I don't think they lose, because Calvin Ridley's great. He's not unguardable, and Travis Kelce is. Travis Kelce has shown us in the last however many years, you cannot guard this man. He is unguardable, and someone that's able to catch that third down for that conversion, someone who's able to catch touchdowns, not named Kadarius Toney, because that motherfucker has butter on his hands all the time.
Stoned butter.
Just stoned butter. He's got cinder blocks with butter coating on them from like the movie theater. But yeah, I think KC is going to come out with something to prove, because they do. They honestly, let's be real. I think they do have something to prove. With that loss that shouldn't have happened.
No.
Kadarius Toney's sealed their fate there a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So the game that no one's gonna watch, Indianapolis versus Houston in Houston. You might be able to get like 50-yard line tickets for like $20 to this game.
Maybe you can get paid to go to that game.
Hey, please watch. I'm gonna go Indy. I'm gonna say Indy here. Craig's not even here to hear it, but like, if Anthony Richardson plays in a similar style with like a little bit more smarts, not leading with his head down 2 touchdowns, I think that he's just got more talent around him at this juncture to be able to win this game. But like, let's not kid ourselves. Both of these teams are dog shit.
Mm-hmm. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. I feel like this is the segment where nobody cares about the football side, so we can start talking about the aliens in Mexico thing.
Wild shit. I spent all morning looking at that stuff.
Those paper mache aliens are definitely picking Houston at home.
They are.
They look. I mean, those things looked like carved cans of Spam.
It looked like cardboard that like you let get really wet, and then you like dried it in the oven and it started to like peel up. I was like, oh yeah. Or like carpet silly putty. It looked like silly putty that gets stuck in the carpet, and you know how it gets fuzzy after that, and like you let it harden. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it was like a first gen 3D printer of ET. Just melted plastic.
Yeah. I don't have high hopes that is a legitimate thing, but like, hey, Stranger things have happened. Um, this game also feels like it's going to be a drubbing, but like, who knows? San Francisco Rams. Who are you taking, Mike?
I don't know what the hell happened with LA last week.
I
What
don't know.
right do they have to go out there and score as many points after we spent all offseason talking about how much they were going to be trash this year?
Yeah.
The audacity of those bastards to go out there and play good football for 60 minutes and crush whoever the hell they were playing.
I'm upset.
It's outrageous, but 49ers are the best team in football right now, so I'm going to take them on the road.
Super fair. They're terrifying. They are a terrifying team. The Giants play San Francisco next week. So they play Arizona Sunday, and then Thursday night they play San Francisco.
Ooh.
And I'm pretty sure they're just going to get smacked in the mouth. Hard. They played the Seahawks. The Rams did. Yeah, this is San Fran, no doubt. I have Justin Herbert as my quarterback in fantasy football. I thought about getting Brock Purdy and just like stashing him on my bench because he looked that good. He looked that good against a very formidable Steelers defense. Like, I don't think that you can look at that game and be like, their defense is terrible.
No, but number 29 is terrible.
Well,
I can tell you that.
Well,
I think
you know who's not terrible though? Number 90.
That is a fact. He's the only non-terrible Steeler right now.
Give me San Fran versus the Rams. And maybe San Francisco gets to Matthew Stafford and they make him the quarterback we thought he was going to be. But we'll see.
Just paste. We thought he was going to be paste.
We thought he was going to be real bad. And if Nick Bosa gets there and does what he wants to him, then he will be bad. Giants versus Arizona. So we've been saying we're going to talk about this. We've been saying we're going to get there. We're here. My Giants put so much doubt in my mind for this game that I am still not sure who I'm going to pick. When you get 40 points hung up on you at home week 1 against a division rival, it makes you like reconsider some stuff. So it was bad. Everything I thought I knew, I don't know. And I am sad all the time. I am going to take the Giants just because we've been saying this whole time that we're taking week 1 as preseason week 4. I think that they have enough talent that Arizona does not have, and they can win this game, but possibly not having their left tackle, who is the best offensive lineman on that line. He is one of the best offensive linemen in football. It's just a shame that literally no one else along that line is good. It's going to be scary, but I just see them running the ball 50 times, controlling the clock, bootlegging a lot, and just trying to keep Daniel Jones standing straight up. So I'm going to take the Giants over Arizona, but I am not as confident because Arizona, they put in a good game, a good effort against Washington, regardless of how good I think that team is.
I think if you're an NFL franchise and you just got your teeth kicked in, the next morning when you're sitting at the dentist's office waiting to have your teeth put surgically back into your mouth, you're sitting there going, who are we going to play this week so I can get some confidence going? The choice on most players would be Arizona. So this is the perfect rebound game, I think, for the Giants to get back on track. I think they're going to do it. They are 5.5-point favorites on the road at Arizona, which tells you what Vegas thinks of Arizona. Because the old rule of thumb is 3 points is automatically given to the home team. So they on a neutral field, Giants would be winning by over 8.5 points.
Yeah,
is what Vegas is saying. I am confidently picking the Giants to whoop up on Arizona this week. And if the Giants lose this game, then I think you might see some people lose their jobs.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of reevaluation. There's Special teams was a travesty that game. The offensive line was, there was multiple dropbacks where Daniel Jones had people in his face 2 seconds after the ball was snapped. That is not a path to success. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Still licking my wounds a little bit, so I am tentatively taking the Giants here. Now to talk about the team that literally beat the dog shit out of the Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, opening up their home season with the New York Jets, the Aaron Rodgers-less New York Jets.
I'm so mad.
We have spent weeks upon weeks dumping on this man and hoping for the downfall. But I think I can say for both of us confidently, and please jump in here, we didn't want it to be this way. We didn't want it to be this way.
No, because now I'm going to hear, well, they would have been good if they had just had Aaron Rodgers healthy. It's like, no, you still would have been bad. It still would have been a bad season. But whatever, it's the way it is. I feel terrible that Jets fans had to go through that. I wanted them to go through the ringer the old-fashioned way, week by week, not all at once. Just
slow, steady, and painful like the rest of us.
Yeah, just a 17-week meat grinder, damn it. Not just all right, well, I don't have to watch football on Sundays anymore. Cool, thanks, guys.
Yeah, all those primetime games, just get ready for those to be flexed.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I will say in regards to the Jets, not to piss on their grave, but the one thing I kept saying was that I was worried about their offensive line. I was worried about Dwayne Brown being the starting left tackle at 38 years old, coming off of an injury, not having received any snaps in the preseason. Their right tackle is Mekhi Becton, who hasn't played, I don't think he's played 12 games in the 2 years he's been in the NFL. I was worried about that. And don't you know, they tried to cut block Dwayne Brown, and he didn't do it good. And Leonard Floyd got to Aaron Rodgers, which led to the Achilles. Woody Johnson, on the 1% chance you're listening to this, when you trade for a 40-year-old quarterback, take a note from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Solidify the offensive line at all costs, because guess what? He is not as mobile as anyone else in the league. 40 years old is still 40 years old. So I'm taking Dallas here, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
The line is 9.5 points for Dallas at home. I also am taking Dallas in this one. You know who I feel rotten for? Zach Wilson. He was living life high on the hog.
He was so ready. He was so excited to be a backup.
So excited. Like, you could tell he was loving life again. And then just 2 drives in, you could see he was seeing the tweets or the X's going through the air saying, Zach Wilson's the 3rd worst quarterback in the league. We're never going to win with this guy as our quarterback. Like, you could just see him pull those thoughts out of the metaverse with his brainwaves, and it impacted him. I feel bad. I don't even think he's that bad. I said it.
I think he's terrible. I don't.
He's
think
not good. He's not good.
good.
But he's not like.
He's not the worst. He's not the worst.
Yeah. My wife said what I thought was the funniest thing. She's watching, and she was like the coach for the Jets. She's like, he looks like he's going to cry, and he already has such feminine features. It doesn't look good with him like borderline tears the entire first half.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked, I'll say this. We dumped on Hard Knocks a whole bunch. We didn't even talk about the last 2 episodes, I don't think. On pod at least. And after Xavier Gipson took that punt return for a touchdown to win them the game, all I could think was that the only things I know about this guy is, 1, they faked him out that he was being cut and like told him he was going to be on the roster. and 2, he lost a game of ping pong. Because those are the only fucking things I know about this guy. And like, I was excited for him, but like, if Hard Knocks would have been Hard Knocks of last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would have been so much more excited because I would have followed that guy through training camp and gotten to know more about him instead of about literally a guy who's not taking another snap this year and could conceivably not take another snap again.
I think the injury to Aaron Rodgers makes this the best season of Hard Knocks ever, because it is just pure hype for a thing that never was. It's like, just take that Hard Knocks, which did so much to build the hype, and just send it to Canton as a warning sign for fan bases not to get too hyped up in the preseason, because bad things can happen, especially if you're a Jets fan.
Especially if you're a Jets fan. The only good anecdote I think that is coming from all of this is the fact that the Jets will retain their first round pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
The caveat was Rodgers had to take, I believe it was 70% of the snaps.
Something around there.
He is not going to take that. So Green Bay will get an additional second round pick from the Jets, which is going to be a high pick. It's going to be a good pick, but you're able to get a first round pick. And I don't, again, in the 1% chance that someone in the Jets front office is listening to this, take a fucking tackle. Take a tackle. Take a goddamn tackle. I told my friend Justin, who is a Jets fan, I told him, I was like, look, man, I was like, I know you're upset. I was like, trust me, I get it. Me too. I blame this front office more than anything because they did not put the pieces around Aaron to protect him. They went out and got Dalvin Cook. They went out and signed, Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb and all these dudes. And like, that's great. Get Aaron's guys, get his weapons in, get people that can explain the offense to the rookies, whatever. But knowing you were going to trade for this guy, you let New England trade their pick to Pittsburgh to get the last first round tackle on the board. You let that happen because you refuse to get above them, knowing that Bill Belichick is a fucking evil genius. This is your fault. Like this, you did this. Negligence does not mean you're innocent. So I will leave it there. I will just hop off the soapbox.
One comment I saw that was funny was like, oh, a Nathaniel Hackett led offense won with 18 points. That
accurate.
I don't know where the front office, Nathaniel Hackett, somewhere in there, and all those people that you named as the people that they brought in, they were brought in because those were the people Rodgers wanted brought in.
Yeah.
Just gonna say that. We're done dunking on the Jets. We are no longer the number one official Jets hating podcast on the podcast. We are the number one sympathizing Jets podcast on the internets.
I'm so sorry. Breece Hall looks great. You guys are going
to love him. Breece Hall looked amazing.
He looks outstanding. He looks like he's already better. And I know he's not. He's only going to get stronger and faster as the season goes on, which is a dumb thing to say for someone who ran 22 miles an hour this weekend.
Remember when Adrian Peterson tore his ACL and came back and ripped off that long touchdown in that first game? That was the immediate first thing I thought of with Breece Hall out there running. And I kept thinking back to Adrian Peterson's comment after that run, which I had read was like, he could feel the scar tissue breaking in his knee as he was running down the field. And I'm like, that can't be good. That can't feel good.
That sounds bad.
And I wonder if Breece Hall is experiencing that right now.
Very well could. Let's move through this one quickly because I think the next one is going to be more fun to talk about. Washington versus Denver. Give me Denver.
Denver all day.
Payton opening, Russell Wilson. It just feels like a slam dunk. Miami versus New England. And this is the one I wanted to spend a little more time on. Miami, we talked about it. We touched on it when we talked about the Chargers, but what the fuck? I knew they were going to be good, but like they scored at will.
That last touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill was one of the most perfectly thrown balls I've ever seen in my life. I've seen a lot of plays, and I've commented on this podcast that the quarterback gets too much credit a lot of the time, that the ball will be up and it's a 50-50 ball and the receiver makes an incredible play and the announcers will be like, that quarterback put it where only that guy can go up and get it.
It's true.
This was the most perfect pass I've ever seen. It was a thing of beauty. It was clutch. Miami, best team in the AFC.
Yeah, it feels like it's their division. I don't, especially after the show. I don't care that Buffalo, like, maybe they do figure it out this week and into the next coming weeks, but like Miami just showed everyone that like they are going to score as much as they want. Once Jalen Ramsey gets back, that defense is going to get another level up. Again, my only fear with them is offensive tackle, but if they're getting the ball out as quickly as they were this weekend, it's not going to matter. You're not going to be able to get to Tua fast enough. And he's obviously able to put the ball where he wants it because, and I'll say this, I know we just said this off pod, but when I was scrolling on Twitter the day after, I saw the greatest, and I wish I could had the tweet saved. I should have saved it, but I didn't. And I'm sorry if I'm stealing your joke, person, but you probably won't watch this. He said that if Tua would have made this throw during the Salem witch trials, he would have been burned at the stake for being a witch. And like, yes, absolutely, 1,000 times yes. It was the most magical, amazing, perfectly placed football. I don't know if he could do it again.
No.
It was
no, he couldn't.
It was literally like there was no other. He threw it and I was like, oh, that's getting smacked down by the corner. No way, no how. And like it literally just like it was like a change up or like a yeah, I guess like a curveball in baseball, or it was just like this, and then it went whoop, and I was like, what? Did you just knuckle puck a football? What happened? I don't understand.
It was great. It was glorious. I did not get to watch nearly as much of that game as I wanted to, but I did see that part of it, and it was incredible.
I gotta say, if you're a Dolphins fan like Craig is, he will be here at some point, probably, maybe. But if you are a Dolphin fan and you are listening to this, you are in for such a fun season from what it looks like. And not to belittle New England, they gave Philly a game, which is like one of the biggest compliments I think you can give. Like they put the Eagles to the limit. Like it was a toe drag away from being a Patriots win, and we spent all summer talking about how they were dead too. And it appears that they shook the rust off. Mac Jones made a couple mistakes in the first half, and they kind of regrouped themselves and really showed what the fuck is up.
I was the least hater of the Patriots, I think, over the summer. I think a lot of that last week was week one, throw all of week one out the window. And also Belichick had how many weeks to prepare for that game?
Yeah.
So,
and he's apparently a fan of Jalen Hurts too. So
Jalen Hurts, I'm just going to say it. That Hulu commercial he's got right now is not doing him any favors.
It's not.
Hulu has live sports are the worst sports commercials that get blasted every single season. And that's one of the worst that they've done.
I don't like it. I'm not a fan. And I'm also not a fan that Hulu's raising their prices again. So fuck you, Hulu.
Hey,
unless you want to sponsor the show, then you know what? I love you.
Give us free live sports.
Give us free live sports, and I will talk only good things about you. I'm going to take Miami here because I feel like you'd be foolish not to.
Yeah. Yep.
New Orleans versus Carolina. Everyone loses, but I'm going to take the Saints. I just think why there's more talent there.
Even though this team, New Orleans, is an hour behind us, and every other team on Monday night is in the East Coast or in the Eastern time zone, they still put this on at 7:15 because they're like, get this over with. We do not want this in prime time.
Nobody wants to watch this. This is going to be bad.
They picked the one-time spot that nobody's going to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I will pivot to the other Monday night game. Yes, the actual Monday night game. Cleveland the Browns is the Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talk to me. What happened this weekend? What's going to happen, or what happened last weekend? What's going to happen this weekend? How are you feeling?
So what happened on Sunday was a crime. It was just a straight crime. There was a murder. The 49ers ripped my heart out of my chest, show it to me, and then proceeded to stomp on it. I said for weeks, I needed reality to slap me in the face. And I mean, we lasted four times the length of Aaron Rodgers' Jets career.
It's
But
true.
at some point early in the first half, I was sitting on the couch. The next thing I know, I was falling on the floor because I got smacked in the face so hard. It was bad. It was real bad. Kenny Pickett. I blame two specific players, although the truth is there was only one good Steeler that I saw on Sunday, and it was TJ Watt. Everybody else was mediocre to bad. The coaching was terrible. It was all bad. And the Steelers are good for one of those games every single year. I was really bummed that it was week 1 at home against one of the best teams in the NFC, if not the best team in the entire NFL right now. The Steelers have waited so long for a home opener on week 1. We've been on the road just every year, usually beating good teams on the road.
Right.
They couldn't do it at home. Kenny Pickett was probably the worst player on the offense. I think that was his worst game as a pro. He was missing wide open people. He was making terrible decisions. Some of that was later in the game when he was forcing it, trying to make something happen. But he missed a wide open Deontay Johnson on the slant. That would have been a touchdown. Missed it. Missed a bunch of other throws. So that sucked. And then on defense, number 29, he was responsible, I think, directly for, I would say, at least 2 touchdowns, especially the Christian McCaffrey run. He took the worst angle I've ever seen.
Angle. I remember that.
That was, I was so angry. So yeah, I would expect 29 is not going to be a starter for very much longer. I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to be in there here sooner rather than later. But all that being said, I still believe Pittsburgh's going to be a good team. I'm throwing out week 1. I think they're still going to win double-digit games. They have a very easy schedule. I think they could win 12, 13 games still because of how easy their schedule is. But the 2 things that I said needed to not happen, both happened. Kenny Pickett looks like he's regressed instead of stepped forward, and they got the injury bug. Cam Hayward, out for 8 weeks. Deontay Johnson, out for 4 weeks. Yeah, he's getting surgery on his groin. Out for 8 weeks. Deontay Johnson, the reports today, he's going to be missed at least 4 weeks. The second he went down, you're like, a hamstring injury to a receiver like that could linger all year.
Yeah.
Could linger all year. So I'm not feeling too great. Pat Freiermuth got hurt too with his chest. He stayed in for a little bit, then got knocked out, but it was a disaster of a week 1. Cleveland played lights out in week 1. So I'm going to take Cleveland on Monday Night Football, but I'm also 100% back to my stereotypical, I will never pick Pittsburgh to win, even if they are playing a ham sandwich. I'm sorry, a chipped ham sandwich. They could be playing a Isley's chip chopped ham, and I would still pick the sandwich to beat them because that's where I am with my superstition.
It's fair. You talked me into the Steelers last week. I supported you.
It's foolish.
And I'm going to I've learned. And I am going to go against you this week, and I'm going to say that the Steelers beat the Cleveland Browns because I don't believe in Deshaun Watson. He
was
threw
terrible.
the ball to a Bengal. Like there was not a receiver in the area code, and he was like, this is for you. And I was like, okay, Deshaun, holy shit. Okay, man, whatever. And I just think there is too much talent on that defensive side of the ball for Pittsburgh, even without Hayward. And looks like Levi Wallace is going to be rocketed to the sun at some point in the near future for Joey Porter Jr., who I think is Very good. You'll take the pass interference penalties that come with that if he's going to stop the run, which he will. He likes that contact, but I'm
Minka
going to go Pittsburgh.
Fitzpatrick got juked out of his shoes by Brock Purdy.
That never happens.
Should never happen.
Minka never, it never happens to him. It never happens to, he's been like smacked. I've seen that, but like he's never gotten like shook like that, especially by Brock fucking Purdy. But
totally missed Purdy. And then 29, Wallace is running around like, where's my guy? Where's my guy? I lost my guy. And just let that play finish.
He's like a child at a mall that lost his mom. He's like, where's mom? And just kind of walked around looking.
Are you my mommy now?
Are you my mom? They were like, no, Levi, we are not your mom. All right, well, that's going to do it for our pick breakdown and our recap from last week. Just to let everyone know, we have Mike Thomas, Mike Spillane, myself, and Craig all in a pick'em league that we are going to invite people to eventually when we get people that want to do that with us. And our leader currently is Craig. He got 8 picks right. He went 8-8. Literally everyone else went 6-10. It would have been 7s all the way down if the Jets would have lost that game, but they did not. And that screwed all of us. So yeah, here we are. I will update you guys as we continue on through the season. If you have any questions for us, would like us to talk about any matchups in the future in particular, or anything like that, don't forget to subscribe, comment that down below, like this video if you would be so kind, and we will see you guys all back here next time.